Here's why men still stay fat, and it's not a lack of willpower. If discipline was the problem, you wouldn't still be stuck. Because if working harder actually worked, if more consistency was the answer, if grinding longer fixed it, you wouldn't be here watching this video right now. Most men watching this actually aren't lazy. They're unmotivated. They're not unmotivated. They're not clueless. They train, they track, and they sacrifice, and yet they're still the same fucking weight, the same body fat, and still have the same frustrations, right? They don't look like how they want to look, which is a shitty feeling, and I know that feeling. So the question isn't why aren't you trying? It's the real question is why isn't your effort turning into results? Now let me tell you about my client Julio right here on this screen. Julio was always the big guy, growing up. He played soccer, and that label, the big guy, it stuck with him pretty early. He played soccer for a long time, and then finally he kind of grew out of it, and he didn't have that structure, that training, that schedule anymore. So he kind of fell off, right? So what happened was when that structure actually disappeared, something else filled the gap, and unfortunately, it was drinking. So, and like it does for a lot of men, drinking slowly turns into weight gain, leads to a bad identity, and then it's just a losing cycle. It really just kind of throws everything off and you really lose yourself. But eventually, Julio got sober about 4 years ago, and that decision saved his life. He's 4 years clean, which is awesome. That alone takes more discipline than most people will ever have. But here's the part that no one talks about. Sobriety saved him, but it didn't fix how he saw himself. The body never caught up. The identity never caught up. So about a year ago, Julio said enough. He committed to the gym. He trained hard. He cleaned some things up, and it worked at first. And he lost 20 pounds off of pure effort, which was awesome. Congratulations to Julio on that. It was awesome. But then everything stopped. He plateaued. The weight loss stopped. But he still kept going to the gym. But he just didn't really understand why the scale wasn't moving. And I think that happens with a lot of men. So, same scale, same mirror, same frustration. So, obviously, he's super upset about this. He's doing everything right and getting nothing back in return. And this is where most coaches fail men like Julio. They say, just stay consistent, trust the process, train harder, maybe adding a little testosterone. And, Julio had listened to, this is really his family and then other people that he was hearing on social media talking about this. This is why he got these ideas. So he actually thought that testosterone was going to be the final missing piece. But here is the truth. Most coaches won't say. Effort was never the problem. And testosterone is not a strategy. Hard work without direction doesn't create results. It creates plateaus. And that's why most men don't fail. It's because they quit. They fail because they're doing the right things. They're just doing them in the wrong order. So they add tools before fixing the actual foundations. They treat fat loss like it's a willpower problem instead of a systems problem. That's why they stay stuck. And this is where everything, changed with Julio. It wasn't motivation. It wasn't another compound. And it was not more grinding it out. So we had spoke on the phone, and he kind of told me everything that he was doing. And after discussing with him, he just had no foundation at all, no structure. He wasn't actually tracking his calories. He wasn't tracking his weights, any of that. So this is where I put him on my system, and a system built on order and not intensity, right? I call it the Parabellum Protocol. Kill, forge, dominate. This isn't a program. It's how we create disciplined men and help them stop spinning their wheels and get the results they fucking want. Because who doesn't want to get fucking jacked and actually get the body they've always wanted? So it's not about doing more. It's about doing things in the correct order. It's about most coaches skip the order, and that's why the clients fall. So step one, we're going to go here to kill. So before we add anything, we remove what's holding you back, right? We're going to kill the old identity. So we told Julio, you're not just a big guy anymore. You're not always the guy that's just struggled with weight. And this is just how my body is, right? These are all excuses that men tell themselves. And those thoughts don't sound dangerous, but they quietly do control your behavior. Then you kill randomness. So no more random workouts, no guesswork nutrition, inconsistent routines. We killed all that. We can't out-supplement chaos. And then we also kill the bad habits that sabotage hormones. Poor sleep, chronic stress, eating like performance doesn't matter. Until you kill what's broken, nothing new is actually going to work. So after speaking with Julio, I said, like, this is what we need to start doing, right? We need to kill that old identity. Let's make it the fuck happen. And then we moved on to step two, right? So this is forge. So once the noise is removed, you actually build structure. So training becomes scheduled, not optional. Nutrition becomes planned and not emotional. You forge intent. You train for progression and not just sweat. You eat to support performance and hormones and not just calories. And most importantly, we forge sustainability. No extremes, no burnout cycles, no white knuckling. Structure is going to be motivation every single time. And I really harp on no extremes because you can't just cut everything out of your diet. If we love pizza, we love pizza. Like, we still got to be able to sneak it in. You know what I mean? So extremes do not work. I've done them plenty of times and they don't. It makes everything so much harder, and then you end up just falling off anyway. So then we went over to step three, which is now dominate, right? So only now does leverage actually make sense. So we're going to dominate with strategy. We're going to use testosterone as a tool and not a crutch. We work on our dosage, we work on our timing, and we make sure it's also lifestyle aligned. Recovery becomes a weapon now, right? So now we get the sleep optimized by taking some vitamins. We get our stress managed, training, and our hormones are working together now, which is awesome and makes the job a lot easier. Execution just becomes automatic now. There's no more second guessing, no more constant changes. This is where progress compounds instead of stalling. Now, once Julio stopped trying to do everything at once and follow the order, things shifted. Not overnight, not magically, but consistently. The plateau wasn't physical, it was strategic. So here's where you're at right now, right? So when Julio did all of this, he's now down over, I believe it is, he's down from 260 all the way to 218. And he did that in just 3.5 months. So now here's where you're at right now, right? You got two options. You can either stay stuck and just hope that it gets better and maybe it works out for you. You know, keep grinding harder, add more, and just hope it works this time, right? Or option two, you can follow a proven protocol, remove the guesswork, build momentum that compounds. If you're disciplined, driven, and you want to and you're tired of being stuck and you want a system, not motivation, go ahead and click the link down below and book a call with me, and then I'll walk you through the Parabellum protocol, Build, Forge, Dominate. Because hard work isn't the problem. Direction is. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys learned a little something.